Strategy 1. Declare war on your enemies. The polarity strategy. Life is endless battle and conflict, and you cannot fight effectively unless you can identify your enemies. People are subtle and evasive, disguising their intentions, pretending to be on your side. You need clarity. Learn to smoke out your enemies, to spot them and their signs of ill will and their patterns that reveal hostility. Then, once you have them in sight, inwardly declare war. As the opposite poles of a magnet attract or create motion, your enemies give you purpose. Your opposites can fill you with that purpose and direction. As people who stand in your way, who represent what you loathe, people to react against. They are a source of energy. Do not be naive. With some enemies, there can be no compromise, no middle ground. Tale of the underdog. 2010. One is being encircled, hunted by an enemy, a large enemy, an evil enemy. This deviant enemy that uses passive aggression, slippery, sly maneuvers of how to take a man down or take our future children down, obviously at one man's expense. That one man represents our future children. For if the one man is taken down by evil, the evil succeeds and wins. It will continue, a continuum to our future children. It's a plague, an illness. One man stands against that illness, that plague that pollutes the mindset of our children. It has gotten into all people, all worldly people. It is an evil ideology. But one man finds himself hunted through the gardens by 6 cutthroat brothers whom are representing and fueled, representing an ideology of evil, fueled by the commodity cocaine. But their ideology is power, false power, of becoming rich, famous, controlling people for purposes of lust, to get pleasure, sadistic pleasure, holidays, power, empowerment, self-empowerment of the ego. That's what it's about, the ego. This war is more about the ego than anything else. You see, the ego comes under the vanity which feeds evil. You see, people that have a self-desire are on the side of the diablo. You see, Satan, the devil, he is a trickster. Satan is the opposer. These are the people that stand as a magnet in the opposite direction, opposing you. You are one man. I say unto you that you must polarize your enemies. Know who they are. Know the identity, for they give you a purpose. They give you something to live for. Live for that moment. Make it you against the world. I say go and walk the narrow path. to life. Do not take the broad path like everyone else to destruction of false empowerment. This false empowerment of getting rich through whatever means. You see, it is not the commodity we are against. Far from it. Let us not be naive. It's not the drug. Far from it, this commodity. What we are against is the evil behind it. The gangster, the mafia, the ideology of the ego. You see, this ego is self-vanity. They want control and power, and what it is an evil spirit that's gotten into man. It is not the flesh of man. It is not the embodiment of the group. It is nothing to do with culture, nor race. No, far from it. It is an evil within every race, every culture. Understand, my friends. Polarize your enemies. Know who your opposites are. Learn to smoke out your enemies by the hostility and signs they give. Remember, they give you a purpose. That purpose is to know who you are and for what you stand. It takes great leaders time to understand who their enemies are. Make it you against the world. Indeed, hunt it down. One man finds himself on the streets, hunted by a mass of undesirable people. Through the land he is hunted. These machines of menace drive alongside him with signs, hostility signs of the diablo, the devil, health care, take care, die signs. These signs are sinister. They are trying to break you down, to get you locked up in an asylum, to get you strung up by the inside community, the deviant community, of course, of darkness, Hades, represented by an evil devil worship. That's what they want, to make it look like, oh, he's just hung himself. Oh, he slit his wrists. Feign suicide. Ah, now we've got rid of the scapegoat catpaw plan. Ah, well, I say you stand by yourself. Separate yourself from the group. Know who your enemies are and stand up against them. Make it you against the world, I say. This is a war of good v evil. Good v evil. A moral war, you can call it. But this moral war is big. It's not a specific, such as a commodity or a drug. Far from it. This is a big general. A big general. Based upon our future children, our way of living. We paved the streets, we put the libraries in, we put men onto the moon, men into space, we will advance. Do we want that all taken down by some undesirable tribe polluting our way, our belief system? No. Separate yourself from the group, the ideology of hate, slander, power, false empower, money, more holidays, fame, lust, desire, greed, selfishness. I say declare war on your enemies and separate from that group context. Stand for the good of man, your future children, your future way. The earth. The enemy is the ground beneath your feet. It has a gravity that holds you in place, a force of resistance. Root yourself deep within that earth to gain firmness and strength. Without an enemy on which to walk, you lose all bearings upon life, upon which to trample. You lose yourself, your bearings, and all sense of purpose. Authority. If you count on safety and do not think of danger, if you do not know enough to be wary, when enemies arrive. This is called a sparrow nesting on a tent, a fish swimming in a cauldron. They won't last a day. Indeed. Strategy. The Polarity Strategy, Robert Greene. My thanks to the author. Polarity Strategy. It's a tale of a hunted man, but he separates himself from that group to find himself. It has a purpose, the way the world spins. He's defined himself. He knows his narrow path and which way to walk now. Polarize your enemies. Find out who you are, for what you stand, and for what path you are upon. For we are the side of good. We are the gods of good, the strategists of good. We are against all evil.